Week 11 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few centers I would look to sell high or trade away this week. The first guy is Rahquan Holmes of the Sacramento Kings, and Holmes this season, he's proved me wrong so far, no doubt about it. With a good season under his belt, and mostly he's been consistent throughout the season. On the season, he's ranked 43rd in fantasy basketball, 13 points a game, 8.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.5 blocks, 80% from the foul line, 65% from the field. So those are good percentages. Those are great numbers. And in the last week here, his game stepped up even to another level. Ranked 21st in the last week, 14.8 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 91% from the foul line, and 70% from the field. So Holmes, he gets a lot of good looks. He gets a lot of putbacks and a lot of dunks as well. He's an explosive player entering free agency this year, and he's going to get paid big money. So right now, he's putting up the stats. He's making the plays, but this King team, they're just not winning. And right now, Holmes, he's definitely a sell-high player because he's a player I could see getting traded by the trade deadline, and another guy going to a contender where his minutes and production will go down. So right now, this is the perfect time to sell him high after the last few games where he's had a couple big ones in there. February 25th at the Knicks, 9.6 rebounds, an assist and a steal. February 26th at the Detroit Pistons, this was the big one you could sell him off on. 19 points, 17 rebounds, an assist, 2 blocks. And then February 28th versus the Charlotte Hornets, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block. So Rahquan Holmes, he's putting in good work, and he's one of the better players this season here in fantasy basketball. And I think you could sell him off and get great value from him. The next player is Myles Turner of the Indiana Pacers, another player like Holmes, who's this season he's been on a lot of these sell high or trade off lists. And on the season, he's ranked 14th in fantasy basketball with 13.2 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.1 steals, a whopping 3.4 blocks a game, 1.43, 80% from the foul line, and 47% from the field. So Myles Turner, the numbers, they're not that eye-popping to me in my opinion, but they're ranking him so high with his blocks per game at 3.4 and still with decent percentages from the foul line and field goal. But as far as scoring the basketball and rebounding, his numbers are nothing special in my opinion. And right now, if you could sell him high off the rank, why not? The last 3 games for Turner: February 26th at Boston, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks. That's a great game. And 2 threes he added. February 27th at the Knicks, 11 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, 4 blocks, a steal. So the blocks there saved them again. And then versus Philly a couple nights ago, 11 points, 3 rebounds, a steal, and a block. So he's not putting up huge points. The rebounds, they aren't all that great for a center, even though I know Sabonis gets a lot of them at 12 a game here for this Indiana team. But right now, I don't think Turner, he should be ranked this high in fantasy basketball. And if you could sell him off high, off his ranking, this is definitely a time to do it, because the numbers, in my opinion, keep staying mediocre or going down. The next center is Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. In this case, though, Jarrett Allen, you would have to get a whole lot in a deal to trade him off, in my opinion, since he's became the full-time starter here for this Cleveland Cavalier team. On the season, he's ranked 55th with 13.4 points a game, 10 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.8 blocks, 73% from the foul line, and 66% from the field, which he's one of the leaders in field goal percentage this season. But in the last week, he's ranked 15th overall in fantasy basketball, 15.8 points a game, 14.3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 blocks, 71% from the foul line, 62% from the field. So Allen, he's had some big games. He's playing the 30 to 35 minutes a game nightly. And he's a young guy who's going to prove a lot and play a lot here. And he's doing big things, no doubt about it. So you would have to get blown away to sell him high. But this is definitely a time to sell him high while the value is at its peak. February 24th versus Houston, 26 points, 18 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks. February 27th at Philly, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a 3. And then March 1st at Houston, 10 points, 15 rebounds, an assist, and a block. So he's having huge block games. He's scoring about 15 to 20 points per game, and he's giving you the 1 or 2 blocks a game. So Jared Allen, he's a good ball player. He hustles, he makes the plays, and he makes fantasy teams better. But if you could get a boatload for him and sell him high, this is the time to do it. The next center is Deandre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns. So Ayton, he's off to a slow start most of the season. But the last week or two now, his numbers have picked up a bit for this Phoenix Suns team that's had a big season so far. Third in the Western Conference, I believe. And on the season, Ayton, he's ranked 68th on the year, 14.5 points a game, 11.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.1 blocks, 74% from the foul line, and a nice 60% from the field. So his numbers are pretty much on par like they were last season, but his points per game are down 4. But in the last week, his numbers have stepped up for Ayton, 20 points a game, 9 rebounds, an assist, 1.3 blocks a game. And in this time, he's ranked 16th in fantasy basketball. So his scoring's gone up. But I don't see it being sustainable for him after we saw 10 weeks of him only averaging 14 a game. But now he's bumped it up to 20. So his value's a little higher. And he's shooting as a great percentage, which I don't think he'll sustain. February 24th versus Charlotte, he shot 62% from the field, 16 points, 10 rebounds, an assist, and a block. February 26th at the Chicago Bulls, 22 points, 7 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and 3 blocks. And then February 28th at Minnesota, 22 points, 10 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. So Deandre Ayton, great double-double games. He's blocking the shots. He's getting the rebounds and scoring. But I think his scoring's going to drop off like it did early in the season, even though this Phoenix Sun team looks real good right now. But I think you could get a decent amount for Ayton, because right now Ayton, he ain't even living up to his second-round value as well here this season. And the fifth and final center I would look to sell high or trade off this week is once again Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks even want to trade him. Rumors have come out over the last week or two here about Porzingis and this Maverick team. On the season, he's ranked 31st with 20.2 points a game, 8.1 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 1.6 blocks, 2.2 threes per game, 85% from the foul line, 46% from the field. And in the last week, he's ranked 37th is Porzingis, 17.5 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal, 2 blocks a game, 1.5 threes, 42% from the field, and 88% from the foul line. So Porzingis, it's great numbers, I'm not going to lie. But once again, we see injuries flare up for him, and he missed the first 5 or 6 weeks with the injuries, and then he missed games from February 22nd to February 25th with the back injury. So Porzingis, he's 7'3", and a guy that size, we just know in the NBA, his lifespan don't last that long. We've seen it with Yao Ming with his height, with his foot injuries, and we've seen it with other guys like Sean Bradley and guys who came before him. So guys at that size, they just don't last, and they got a lot of lower body injuries, and that's my concern here for Porzingis, especially the way he moves and uses his body with his athleticism and three-point shooting. I don't think Porzingis is going to have great fantasy value or last the whole season being healthy. And the last 2 games since he came back, he's put up good numbers, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks at Brooklyn February 27th. And then a few nights ago at Orlando, 17 points, 10 rebounds March 1st, 3 assists, a steal, a block, and 3 threes. So he's putting up good numbers. But I think you could sell him high before a bigger injury happens, or he just can't produce at a high level. So that's a few centers I would look to sell off high or trade away here this week in Week 11 of the fantasy basketball season.